Hey guys, I'm gonna talk really fast because my phone is gonna run out of storage and I don't want my video to cut off. But anyways, today we're gonna be talking about three of the Star Wars movies. So it's A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, along with the hero's journey. So the first so the first part of the hero's journey is Call to Adventure. And in A New Hope, Luke's call to adventure occurs when he receives the holographic message from Leia asking for Obi-Wan Kenobi's help through R2-D2. And so Luke goes to Ben Kenobi to kind of ask him about it, and Ben Kenobi's like, "Oh yeah, this is I'm the same person, this message is for me, but I need your help on this journey." But because Luke has just lived his life on the farm with his aunt and his uncle, he decides to stay with them, and so he refuses his call to action, which is the second part of the hero's journey. But then when he comes back from visiting Ben Kenobi and he goes back to the farm, he finds that his aunt and his uncle have both been killed by stormtroopers. And so he finally accepts his call to action and he joins Obi-Wan Kenobi. So the third part of the hero's journey is supernatural aid or mentor. And so in the first movie, A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi acts as the mentor, and later in the movie we learn more about the Force, which is superpowers kind of that you can learn to control, and you can use them for good and for bad. And so that would also act as a supernatural aid in the movie. Then the fourth step of the hero's journey is crossing the threshold. And so in the first movie we see crossing of the threshold when Luke Skywalker finally decides to go with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he finally leaves his home planet, which is Tatooine. And so once he leaves the planet, he's officially embarked on the journey. He can't really go back, and so that's why that is the crossing of the threshold. Then throughout the rest of the movie, it's trials and tribulations. So that would be the belly of the whale, which is when he's embarks on this journey to rescue Princess Leia. The incident with where they have to escape the garbage compactor, and then his attempts to destroy the Death Star. So that would be the belly of the whale, and kind of the road of trials. It occurs throughout the rest of this movie. So then in the second movie, which is The Empire Strikes Back, we have the meeting with the goddess is so when Luke finally meets Princess Leia, that's kind of the meeting with the goddess. But although they like each other at first, they find out that they're actually siblings. And so rather than it being a romantic type of meeting with the goddess, it's not that, because they're siblings, but they still are protective of each other and care and love each other, but not in a romantic way. So then in The Empire Strikes Back, we see the initiation. So in just the basic hero's journey, it's the departure, the initiation, and then the return. So in the first movie we see the departure. So in the second movie it's the initiation. So we see that in The Empire Strikes Back we have the temptation. So in this movie, the temptation is the dark side rather than a woman or something, which is what it usually is in most movies. And so throughout the movie, Luke is kind of tempted into joining the dark side and using his powers and because he's a powerful person, because his dad is Darth Vader, but we don't know that yet. And so he has a lot of power and stuff, and he's supposed to use it for good, but throughout the movies he's kind of tested and tempted into turning back into the dark side. But luckily he does not. And so then in the second movie we see Yoda, and he's training Luke to save Han Solo and Leia. And and then to escape. Wait, no, he's not. Oh yeah, and then he also has to escape Cloud City after he fights Darth Vader, which is his father. So then after this fight, he manages to bring Darth Vader back to or away from the dark side and back into the good side, where he's known actually as Anakin Skywalker. So Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker are the same person. And then, but the Emperor tries to like shoot like or throw lightning at Luke, and in order to protect him, Darth Vader like jumps in the way, and he like kind of sacrifices himself to save Luke, but he does not die. So then we have the apotheosis, which occurs when Luke finally becomes a Jedi after training with Yoda, and so now it's like he's further into his journey. So now instead of like just training to be like a Jedi, he's officially become one. And then we have the ultimate boon, which is the fall of the Death Star, and along with that, like the Empire breaks apart. And then after that, we have the magic flight. So in the magic flight, it occurs when so after they like attempt to destroy the Death Star, Luke has to find a way to escape it before like everything explodes and is destroyed. And then while that is happening, we have the rescue from without. So even though at the moment Luke doesn't know what's happening, his friends like Hans and Leia and like the Ewoks and like the other people, they're helping him bring down like the shield so that he can destroy the Death Star. And so that's like the rescue from without. And then we have Master of the Two Worlds. So because in the at the beginning of the first movie, we see that Luke is just like a regular farmer, like he just lives on the farm with his aunt and his uncle, but now he's officially a Jedi, and so he's kind of like mastered the ordinary world and like the magical world. So he's master of the worlds, and like he becomes master of the worlds as a result of his journey. And then we see the final one, which is freedom to live. So after going through like this whole thing, his father, which was Darth Vader, is now back on the good side as Anakin Skywalker, and Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which were the supernatural like mentors that that guided him throughout the movies, they are like they're dead, but they're still proud of him. Like their spirits are proud of him for having like completed the journey. Another thing to point out is that there is like kind of like sort of the concept of like rebirth-ish throughout these movies, because in the first one, Obi-Wan Kenobi like kind of sacrifices himself to so that Luke can like continue on like this mission that he's embarked on. And then also Darth Vader, which I said earlier, he sacrifices himself with the lightning so that Luke can continue like and complete his journey. So that's pretty much the hero's journey in the Star Wars A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So basically the hero's journey is kind of like split into these three movies, where we saw that the first one was the departure, the second one was the initiation, and then in the last one, Return of the Jedi. It's the return because Luke is able to complete, like it's the final part of his like hero's journey where he's able to finally come back. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.